Innovative Strategy is a show designed to help people with their business and personal financial literacy, but not in the way that you have known. This is not your grandpa's financial literacy, as Bill uses his 30 plus years in the financial industry to stretch your financial box from, let's say about a 30,000 foot view of things. Bill and his guests have helped hundreds of clients achieve and surpass their financial goals. If you have any questions, please email Bill at billhaase, that's Bill at billhaase.com, or reach out to him right here at 216thenet@gmail.com. Today, business or hobby? We have about 5 more seconds. There it is. It fades out. Look at that.
Good morning.
Hey, Bill.
How you doing?
I'm good.
I tell you.
Yeah, fancy new soundboard here.
New soundboard. You got it all. You got it all
dialed in. Yeah.
You were every week is a new special. Look at that. The audience is turning in.
Is going wild.
Nobody knew we had an audience.
That's right. That's right.
That's awesome. Wow, you're really you're just.
We're headed in a different direction.
You're going for that business end instead of the hobby end, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Because that's kind of the topic today. Because it's a lesson that needs to be learned, I think, by a number of folks.
I was excited that this was the topic, because this is something that I've struggled with. So,
well, you and I have had this conversation on occasion, a couple of times, and I know this has been on your mind for a while, and it really popped up for me yesterday when I was involved in a couple of networking groups that I enjoy, that are phenomenal people. Many of the folks that have been on this show come from these networking groups, and but I noticed something yesterday, because when you get in those networking group Zooms and everybody puts their information in the chat box, right, and contact information, who you are, what you do, and such, and I saw like 6 or 7 people, they put business consultant.
Oh,
and
yes.
I'm like, okay, what does that mean? You
right.
know, you haven't put a whole lot of thought into this, have you now? Because you're just saying I'm a business consultant.
Well, at least they didn't say coach.
You know, right.
There's a lot of those out there too.
Yeah. It's like, to me, that's not a business.
Right.
You know, because you really haven't even put the effort into tell me what kind of a consultant you are. What are you local about? What do you focus on?
What do you specify in?
Yeah. You know, what do you focus on? And this is an issue that I've brought up many times, in that people have left their jobs and they've gone out to start their own business, and they're failing because A, they don't know how to start a business. B, they just think they put their shingle out and people will come. Right. It doesn't work that way. It takes a lot more effort. Get a business plan together, put an executive summary together, treat it like a business, not like a hobby.
Mm-hmm.
Or this is what I do, when I'm doing something.
Right.
It doesn't work. You will fail every time. And it's a pet peeve of mine, and I'm still seeing this more and more. And, it frustrates me because, we're here to try and help people get past the trials and tribulations of building your own business, and try and help them understand, how to do it from the concept and well into growth and years into it. But so I see far too much of this. And there's just so many consultants out there, and, there are some very good ones without question. But those people are in a business, and they're not treating it like a hobby. But you got somebody on your phone?
Yeah, it's crazy. I'm going nuts here. Well, here at DVOE, the history of this business was, Tim Stewart, Ron Hostry, and I originally founded it.
Yeah.
And we really didn't know what we were doing, and so we didn't put a lot of money into it. We said, well, let's give it a try, see what happens.
Yeah.
Well, then it kind of it started to catch on and grow, and was I
remember those days.
Was unique because it was something new, and then Tim wanted to go do his speaking and whatnot. So, after about the first 10 months or so, he bowed out of the business. And then Ron and I carried it for a while. And then Ron had to bow out of the business because of his health.
Yeah.
And he eventually passed. And I got excited and said, all right, this is what I'm going to do. Let's get it. I'm going to be the next Ted Turner. It's going to be fun. And quickly found out what I was good at and what I wasn't good at in the business. And that's when we brought, Pete Galt in. And we had a good run. And with Pete and I, it was really a hobby. It was something, it was kind of that place of peace, that come hang out, enjoy conversations with people, the content, and Pete had that silky smooth, hey, Uncle Pete in the morning voice.
Right.
And, but we never, it was growing. Our audience was growing by leaps and bounds because of the pandemic, but we never really understood. We didn't have a business plan. We didn't understand how to take it to that next level. And so that's what it was. And then of course Pete passed. And so in June, he passed in November. So I kind of kept plugging along and thinking about, praying about what to do. And then Alice and my wife and I went to Door County for our 30th wedding anniversary in June. And that's where she and I just really kind of talked and said, okay, we either got to make this thing work or put it to bed. Right?
Yeah.
And she said, it's something that you're passionate about. It's something that you enjoy. It's kind of a release for you. She said, I make it work.
Well, see, no, I like what you said. Passionate about it.
Yeah.
Because if you're really, truly passionate about what you're doing, then you can't help but be in a business.
Yeah.
You're driven. Inside you're driven, whether the good Lord's calling you to do this or whatnot.
Yeah.
You're driven to do this. You're passionate about it.
Yeah.
If you're not passionate about what you're doing, you're not doing the right thing.
Yeah.
So stop.
Agree. I would agree. Yeah.
Just get off the mouse wheel there and get into something else. I think a lot of people have been thinking that way in the past year or two, and made changes. But and you do make a change, you got to go all in. You got to give it your best effort, and it's tough if you're going to try and do it on the cheap.
Yeah,
it's tough if you're going to try to do it all on your own. Because a lot of folks don't even know how do where do I go out to get business,
right?
And how do I put my shingle out? Why isn't anybody calling?
Yeah.
It just, my phone is dead. And you need to know how to brand and market, and sell. And there are many different aspects to even a solopreneur that's very much the same as a big corporation.
Yeah.
You have to have all these things. And none of us are good at all of those things. None of us.
Right.
So we need help. And there's a lot of professionals out there that are very helpful, a lot of people, or you find a good partner, or that can help out, as I've done with Deb. And there'll be more people coming in, but you really have to understand it. It's something that has to be built, and it can't be built overnight. And you may not have any returns coming back in for a little while, but while you're building it. But you have to make the effort, to go out there and either find people to help you, whether it's building your website, building your branding, your reputation, and your marketing and your sales, and where do I go and who do I talk to,
right? And
you have to think about every little aspect, like what you put in the chat box.
Yeah,
I'm a business consultant. Okay. That just doesn't cut it. That I have absolutely zero drive to meet that person. and have a conversation with that person to see if I can help them or they can help me or whatnot, because I don't really know what they do.
The consult.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we got a lot of those.
Yeah.
Right? You know, I mean, we joke about how many financial advisors there are, and they say that they're short 50,000 advisors. But you can throw a rock and hit a financial advisor pretty much.
Yeah. And so does it make it a business if I put a bumper sticker on business consultant? You know, so what I mean is business consultant focusing on blah 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 blah. Now am I a business, or is it still a hobby?
It's it's most likely still a hobby. It just depends how you treat it. If you're passionate, you're going to treat it differently than if it's a job.
Yeah.
Right. It's because you get up and you want to work.
Mm-hmm.
You want to get going. You want to do things. You want to learn things. You can learn so many things on the internet. You can learn things from watching really good shows on the radio and podcasts. But, there's a lot of information out there to help people.
A ton.
And nobody, and I mean nobody, is short of their opinion of what they think you should be doing. Right? Everybody thinks they know what you should be doing.
Yeah.
Everybody thinks they know better than you do what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
I get that every single day.
Mm-hmm.
And nobody has a clue of all of the things that I have going on in my business.
Yeah.
There's only one person, and that's Deb.
Yeah.
But we have an executive summary. We have a pitch deck. We have a business plan. We have plans out 3+ years.
Yeah.
So we're building it, and we're not bringing anything in just yet. We're still building, and so you've got to understand that you just can't put a shingle up and think you're in business.
Yeah, but you can, and I think that's the issue, and that's what
6 the net on the door.
Right.
That doesn't make you a business. That just means you're paying rent.
But yeah, hey, I got some shows. I got some money coming in. It's sustaining itself. Okay. And by golly, people like me, and listeners are growing. There
are people that like
right.
You.
But I think that the difference between, for me here at the station and DDOE Enterprises, was saying, okay, this is for 4 years. For 4 years, it was a second thought. If something happened, something would always come before it. So it's not that I wasn't passionate about it, but, well, you know what? It is what it is.
Yeah.
And moving it from a hobby to a business, or taking a look at it. I mean, take a look at this place. 3 months ago, you walked in and it looked like a closet. You know what I mean? It looked. We had stuff all over. We had a sink in the middle of, that we hid behind. And it just, the on-camera piece looked good, but now we've invested in better sounding microphones. We've totally rehabbed the studio. We've automated. We're putting money into it. And now it's the first thing that I try to brand. Yeah, because
obviously I've seen the changes and been through them, and I've known you since you guys were out in Harvard.
Yeah.
And I had to get up at 5 a.m. to drive an hour
to drive out there
to get on a 6 o'clock show. You've made some dramatic changes, but you just said it in June. You had that conversation with Alice, and that's when you really decided this needs to be more a business than a hobby.
Yeah,
because that's where your passion is, and so that's the direction you've willingly decided you want to go.
Yeah,
and that's very, very important, because if you don't willingly have that thought and that mindset,
right,
again, you're not going anywhere.
Right.
So I give you a lot of credit, because you have to make this choice, right? You had to either fold this up and concentrate on something else, or get your act together and turn this into a business and treat it like a business.
And what I also had to realize and have a couple of strong conversations with is I brought in 2 new partners. One is great at building business, and the other is great at marketing and understanding how to make business plans work. Right.
Yeah. Well, and then the marketing is how do you grow?
Correct.
Right. Where's your market?
Correct.
How do you grow? What do you need?
Exactly.
You want more shows. You want more content. You want to reach certain audiences.
Exactly.
You need to define it. And I think Deb brought this up. In
Good morning, Deb.
Had to say.
Deb says, I don't think it's a business until you can clearly articulate your purpose, why you exist, and the value you bring to your ideal customer. So starting with vision and mission, without that, it's a hobby, in my honest opinion.
Yeah, I can't argue with that. She's my partner, so
you better not.
Yeah. But it's true. It's a good point. When you ask somebody, and they say, I'm a business consultant, and then I would want to go to the person and say, okay, but what do you focus on? What's your specialty? And if you can't articulate that, to me, I can't take you seriously, and there's no way I'm doing business with you or even referring business to you, because that's my reputation as well.
Yeah, I mean, our purpose here at DDOE Enterprises is to be an interruption to your negative day. We want to deliver that daily dose of encouragement. So all of the shows, you're going to learn something, you're going to laugh, you're going to be inspired. You're not going to turn on and get angry with, right?
Right. We're not pushing politics. We're not pushing,
And so DDOE Enterprises their purpose is to make people smile and give you a break from all the garbage that's out there, right? If that's a good way to put it.
Yeah. I think all of your shows reflect that in some way, shape, or form. Everybody's different. I'm not always going to make you laugh. I'm not always going to be the most positive person. As sometimes I come in here with fire and brimstone. Yeah. And sometimes I come in here and I haven't woken up yet.
Right.
It's we all have those days and everything, but we have to keep in mind.
Yeah.
If you have a business and you're a solopreneur or you have 5 employees, you're responsible for your attitude. You're responsible for your actions. You're responsible for moving things forward each day. What can I do today that puts me in a better position than what I did yesterday?
Right.
And these are not easy mindsets. We get tired of that.
Yeah.
So there's some days where we just say, forget it.
Right.
I need a day off. That's okay. I don't have a problem with you taking a day off.
Sure.
And just relaxing and just kind of let things go and regroup, get back together. I mean, that's like vacations. That's what those are for. From what I hear.
But when it's a business, I think when it's a hobby, you can honestly do that. You can let it go, take a day off, take a deep breath, and forget about it. When it's your passion, when it's a business, you're going to take that day off. But there's still 75% of your mind going bing, 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 bing.
Wheels are grinding.
Has to.
If you're really passionate about it, you're a 24/7 kind of person that's always focused on the business. And I remember you growing up, and you would always tell your father would come home from work, and it was always like, don't bring work home.
Yeah.
That old saying and everything. Well, that's good luck.
Well, that's where I fight a lot with the feel-gooders, what I would say, life coaches. You got to have a good work-life balance. Wrong. Work is life.
Yeah.
Your business is your life. Without it, what do you have?
Right. Well, I have golf, but
but you're not getting the golf ain't paying the bills.
Golf is not paying. Not because nobody will bet me anymore. You're right. I mean, I get it. You need downtime. I won't argue with that. I do think downtime is important, and I think family time is important, and time with friends, and time enjoying things in life that you enjoy, whether it's good food, travel, whatever, wine, whatever it is. But you're still going to be somewhere in that mind. Is still going to be
well, and I go back to the taping of the next conversations with the CEO with Katerina.
Yeah.
And the brilliance of what she does. And I'm setting some bait out there for everybody who's listening right now, because that's a conversation. Again, if you're a business owner, or you're not sure if you're a hobby or a business, that you have to say, okay, so we'll pick on some of our good friends and listeners, Sally Santos and Tim Santos.
Yeah.
Well, coming up next weekend, not this coming up, not Labor Day, but the following weekend is my annual fishing trip man camp. Right, where we go Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday.
You go up in the Wisconsin woods and
totally unplugged, just me and the boys. Yeah. No women, no children. Just we go up there. Well, Tim was going to join us this year, but he was looking forward to it, because his business in the health markets industry really kicks off there in October. For Medicare supplements and things like that. So he was like, man, it's perfect timing. I can get out and just, kind of take a deep breath before the busy season starts.
Yeah, right.
And he and I chatted yesterday. He was like, I can't make it because we have the wine walk that weekend here
I saw that they were looking for volunteers.
Yeah, in McHenry. And last year they had like 1,500 people stop by their business, which really set them up for an incredible year.
Okay.
And he goes, I can't, if it's anything like last year, this is a very important weekend for my business.
Yeah.
Although I'd love to be out in the woods with you, I have to do this for my business. And if it was a hobby, he would say, honey, take care of it.
Right.
And I'm on up to the woods, and good luck. If it was a hobby.
And those are choices we have to make as business owners.
Yeah.
We have to decide, what we can and can't do, or what we have to do versus what we want to do. Yeah. Business is not all about doing what you want to do. There are things you have to do.
Yeah.
And if you don't like doing them, then find somebody who does.
Mm-hmm.
Find somebody who's good, and then let them do what they do. Or help provide education so that they can get better at doing what they do. But those are choices that we have to make. And oftentimes they're not the ones we want.
Yeah. And I would say, even if he chose, and I know Tim very well and Sally, even if he chose to stay here, but his mind was, I should have gone there, still a hobby.
Yeah.
If you're here and you're grinding it out because that's your business, you're not thinking of anything else. You're focused in saying, man, this is it. I'm pumping this out. We're having a blast. Here we go.
Yeah. And to be honest with you, Sally probably could handle it.
Oh yeah.
Blindfolded.
Oh yeah.
But because he's a business
owner.
Their
team. Yeah. He's the owner.
He wants to be there. And that's what, a good business owner, that's what they want to do.
Yeah.
Right. You want to be in the mix. It's hard to let go of some things.
Yeah,
right.
Definitely.
It's hard to let other people do things for you that you want to have control of. And you got to be careful with that.
Yeah, you do.
That's what brings along burnout, that we talk about. And so you got to be careful, but it's there's a fine line, right? Now we bring back work-life balance, right?
Yeah.
We bring that back into play. It's everybody's got their own choices. You got to make your choices. But again, really, I want to emphasize more that if you have decided to become, let's say, a financial advisor, don't just go out and post it on Facebook and LinkedIn and hope people will call you.
Yeah. Right.
I don't show up at networking events and groups and say, yeah, hi, I'm a financial advisor. So you need to talk to me.
Yeah.
You may not know it, but you really need to talk to me. And it's like, okay, but so what do you do?
Yeah.
And it's funny because I was watching one of my favorite shows now is called Adam Ruins Everything.
Okay.
Great show. And he talked about 401ks this morning and how, which I already know, but how they were they were supposed to originally were designed to be supplemental to pensions. Because you couldn't take a pension with you, but you could take a 401k with you. Right. And so along with the Social Security, a pension, and a 401k was supposed to get you to where you needed to be for retirement.
Yeah.
We know that probably, I'd say somewhere in the neighborhood of about 50% of Americans between the ages of 31 and 61 don't have any retirement funds. And for those of you who have been around a long time and you have your 401k and you saw it take that hit in 2000, you saw it take that hit again in 2008, and now you're feeling pain again in 2022, and most likely going forward for a little bit. You're finding out that 401k is not. It was meant to be a supplement. It is not meant to be your sole retirement plan.
Right.
And so many people don't even have 401ks, right? So what do? You get an IRA, right? And you start pumping money into that. Probably a smarter move because you have more choices for investment purposes, and 401ks have a tendency to have a lot of fees. They get chewed up and you don't have a lot of options. But people just don't plan, and they just say, oh, I'm just going to do the 3% because that's what's matched. It's like, if you knew that you needed to save 10 or 15% of your money every year from the get-go, you might be all right. You'll learn to live with it. But you can't later in life say, all right, now I got to catch up. Now I got to put 20, 25%.
Right. That's too hard. Too hard to run from behind. Yeah.
But in business, business hobby, if you're a business owner, you got to know these things. You got to put money away. You got to have money for rainy days. You got to have money for issues that are going to come up, and they will. Nobody runs a perfect business.
Well, and a lot of our listeners are small business owners.
Yeah.
And when I say small business owners, employees of 10 or less.
Yeah.
If that's fair to say. And if it's a hobby, I'm taking some money from it on a regular basis because,
well, you should.
Right? If it's a business, I may be only taking money at the end of the year or quarter rather than every week.
That's a mistake business owners make. They don't take money out.
Right.
They keep reinvesting and putting money back into the business,
mm-hmm.
and then so you build widgets, and you've done it for 10, 15 years, and you put money in. Sure, you've taken some out. You've lived okay, but you don't really have any funds because your whole plan is I'm going to sell this business, and that's where I'm going to cash in, and I'm going to go off into the sunset. Unfortunately, Mr. Walmart widget maker shows up across the street, builds a bigger store, and does it cheaper and puts you out of business. This is really a common thing that happens, and I've seen this many times with business owners. And so it's really important to pull money out on a consistent basis. Pay yourself. Don't go to your CPA and say, I need to deduct everything we can think of so that I don't have to pay any taxes. That's another mistake that small business owners make all the time. They'll learn later on because all of a sudden they can't get a loan because they've never shown any income.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, yeah. I know that.
And you can't buy a house. You can't buy a car. You can't get a business loan. You're showing no income. These are common mistakes that business owners make. And you'll find that VCs, angel investors, folks like that, people who invest in businesses, they want the business owner to get paid. They want to make sure that you don't go bankrupt as the owner of this business,
right?
Personal bankrupt, because obviously that's devastating to the business as well.
Yeah.
But so that's kind of a mindset flip from what it might have been 10, 15 plus years ago.
Yeah.
When they were more interested in saying, why are you paying yourself so much? It's like, well, because I got to live.
Right.
I got bills too.
Yeah.
But so, it's business or hobby, so there's another thing. Very common amongst second generation business owners. They treat the business as a bank and not as a business.
Yeah.
They love taking the money out. And I know plenty of folks in this situation as
Sure.
well that they don't take the business seriously. They don't spend much time at it. They like to get paid.
Yeah.
Right. And they're drawing money out as long as the business is still going. And they'll do whatever little amount they can do to keep it going. But they're not really looking at making it grow anymore. They're just like, I just want to suck this thing dry.
Yeah.
I know plenty of folks doing that right now.
Yeah.
So it's running your own business, being your own CEO and your own boss is, it's not an easy thing to do.
No.
It takes commitment. It takes discipline. And you got to learn. You got to learn how to do it.
Yeah.
Because nobody taught us, right?
Right.
We don't have.
We were talking about that in the green room a little bit.
Yeah. Nobody.
I did. I've got a bachelor's in business management.
You do.
I got my bachelor's, so I got taught by a bunch of 30-year-old professors on how to be an entrepreneur.
Okay. So you got taught how to be an entrepreneur by people who've never been an entrepreneur.
Right.
I love that.
That's a good one.
I love how that goes.
It.
And we have talked about that.
That's right.
You folks with that PhD.
Yeah. Here's Deb says, having an operating budget and a reserve budget is helpful. Use the operating budget to fund the day-to-day. The reserves are for the rainy day or to capitalize on a new great opportunity that just presented itself, or to innovate. But you don't touch the reserves without making the financial business case for doing so. And we've heard Steph from Steph's books on In the Know with Steph and Joe talk a lot about that as well. You want to go out and buy a truck and you can get approved for the loan, but does it make business sense? Do you have the ability to do that?
And that's a great point. So I've got a friend, a neighbor of mine. He has a heating and cooling business, and he does very well, and he's very good at what he does. Mm-hmm. One of the very honest folks out there doing that. And I ran into him, I don't know, it was about a month ago, and he had mentioned he had bought another business. And I was just like, congratulations. That is awesome. That you're growing. I love seeing how you're growing and how you're doing it. And, you're taking some risk. You're willing to do that as a business owner in a small business. You have to take risk. You have to be willing to take risk. We talk about, I've said this before, it's like make the trade, manage the risk.
Yeah.
So in other words, make a decision and then manage that decision. If it's a wrong decision, that's okay. But you made a choice instead of sitting around not making any decisions, not doing anything. But again, I obviously I agree with Deb. You need rainy day money. You need to be able to take advantage of opportunities that will come along. They'll hit you when you least think about it.
Yeah.
And you want to be in a position to be able to take advantage of that. And I love that. You have to have that operating budget. You got to pay your day-to-day bills. That's first. You got to cover that. Yeah. And day-to-day bills also includes what you're paying yourself. Yeah. What you're paying your employees, what you're paying yourself. That's operating budget. Mm-hmm. Then you can get into the profit sharing and other aspects of it. That's more of the end of the year kind of a financial look back and see what you got going on, and let's see. Okay, we've got an extra $10,000 that we didn't have last year, so maybe we're putting X amount into the operating budget, X amount into the rainy day budget, and paying out X amount to employees for a bonus. And because we've gotten into this mindset that we deserve a bonus, and it's part of the job.
It's part of the job.
If everybody gets a bonus, right?
Yeah.
Everybody but the boss.
Everybody but the boss.
Everybody but the owner.
Or depends where you're at, because sometimes it's just the boss.
Yeah, right. But that's it. We don't think that's a privilege. We think that's more of our right.
Yeah.
And just like insurance, when we go work at a company, we get all that insurance and we get all these perks. Well, those are incentives. Those are not rights. It's a choice.
Yeah, so we've seen an influx in the United States with brand new entrepreneurs
Oh boy, lots,
over the last 12 months. Really, it's
millions.
started about this time last year, right?
Yeah, yeah. Well, yeah.
And they called it the Great Walkout or
That
whatever.
was August. Yeah,
Yeah,
wasn't it August or
August or
September?
September. Yeah.
It happened again in February this year.
Yes.
Over 2.5 million or something walked out.
Right.
Maybe it's bigger.
Right. So there are a huge number of people out there right now, Bill, that um, that have a hobby, that think that this is their wherewithal, right? That this is their business, and it's really a hobby. How do you take it from a hobby to a business?
Well, that's part. In part, it's mindset,
Yep.
right? And in part, it's effort. You have to make the effort to make that change. If it's a hobby, you're just doing it when it's convenient for you to do it, right?
Yeah.
I'll go to this networking group because I know it's every Thursday at 11 a.m. And I'll hang out my shingle, but I'm not doing anything between the time I get up at 11 a.m. and I'm not doing anything after
Right.
that work. That's a hobby. If you want to turn it into a business, you get up and you start planning out, what am I going to say in this networking group? Who am I looking to meet? You want to plan it out. When you go to a networking event, this is a big mistake people make in networking, is they want to meet everybody.
Yeah.
And they want to get their name out to everybody. No. Go find that one or two people that you're really looking for, and you need to have your mind set. This is my target market, right? And these people are in my target market, so I'm focusing on them.
Yeah.
And
oh no, your phone was ringing.
So it's you have to make that commitment.
Yeah.
And again, that's a mindset change.
That goes back to that business plan.
It goes back to the business plan. If you have a business plan and you have an executive summary, that's a guidebook.
Yes.
That you've written out what it is you're looking to accomplish, and you're putting a time frame to it, and then all your efforts are towards meeting that time frame and meeting all the expectations that you've put on yourself.
Not only that, but that becomes your Bible. That's your playbook. You're looking at that on a daily basis, if not every other day. You're sitting down at the end of the week going, how did I do against my business plan? Yeah. I think with a hobby, hey man, yeah, I've got one. Let me email it to you. And I never look at it. I have seen a lot of business owners do that. Yeah. Oh yeah. I got a mission statement. What is it? I've got a vision. Well, what is it? Blah, blah.
Absolutely.
If you want to move your hobby to a business, I think you're right. You have a crystal clear focus on your vision and mission and your business plan.
Well, and checks and balances.
Yeah.
Right. You have to. You can't just say, "Oh, I've got an executive summary. I got a business plan." I put it together 6 months ago, and it's been sitting in my desk drawer ever since. Right. You because that set up the time frame and what you're looking to accomplish inside that time frame.
Yeah.
And you need, whether it's daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly, what have I done that has got me that much closer to what I'm trying to do, what I'm looking to accomplish. And that's very, very important. You need to stay focused. That's the purpose of having a plan. Right. To keep that focus for you going forward. Now, does a plan change? Yes.
Absolutely.
Without question. Nobody writes a perfect plan.
Right.
But you do make adjustments. But you're only making adjustments if you've got those checks and balances in place.
Boom.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, if you're not aware of where you're at in your business at any given time, again, you're probably not in business.
Right. So I love to golf. I'll golf once a week. I'm in a league.
Lucky you.
To golf. And that's a hobby. I don't go out and try to get better between Thursday and Thursday. I'm not working on my swing. I'm not working on my putting. I'm not going out and getting electrodes put on me to make sure I've got the right club for the right
You're not paying
swing.
$150 an hour for golf lessons?
Right. That's a hobby. Very much like DDOE and 21 The Net was a hobby. I would show up, we would do a show, and I
Right.
would go away.
Yeah.
And I would show up to do the next show, and I would go away. Now, there's some planning that's involved, but there are times where, all right, well, I don't. We'll take the grounds with Scott Giles and I on Friday mornings.
Great guy.
And that's really, he and I are buddies, and it's just two guys having coffee. So we never really know what to talk about. We do discuss some things, but it isn't like there's a lot of work put into it. So, like on Two Bald Guys at a Microphone, I will do extensive research on whatever the topic is.
Yes.
Because that's a different style show.
Yep.
And a hobby, you don't. A hobby is, hey, I go out and I golf once a week. I have fun. Yeah. And does my score get better? No. It's basically the same score every week. But that's a hobby. Now, a business would be, if I was in the business of golf, would be that I'm trying new balls. I've got the electrodes. I'm paying $150 an hour for lessons, and I'm looking to make money off of this. And you can make money off of hobbies, but not necessarily.
Yeah, business. Sure you can. But I'm guessing that's not going to be your main source of income.
Correct.
And it's always a good analogy because I love the game of golf, and there was a time where I was very competitive, right, and wanted to have that lowest handicap I could possibly get, yeah. And I wanted to shoot, in the 70s every time I went out and played, and now, I've been playing golf for 55 years now, and now I just go out and enjoy it and have fun. Yeah. Now it's just a hobby. I enjoy the weather. I enjoy the people I'm with. I don't care what I shoot anymore. Do I still want to shoot well? Yes, but it's more of a hobby. It's a release for me just to get out and kind of forget about things and concentrate on hitting a little white ball.
Right.
But then it's back to business, right? And again, back to business, focusing on, if you don't have a mission statement, well, okay, get one.
Right.
Because everybody who works for you should know what that mission statement is. And you need to continue to look at your plans. What did I set out to do this year, this quarter, this month, right. This week? What can I do today that gets me closer to where I want to be from yesterday, right? So each day putting effort forward. It's not easy.
No.
You got to push yourself.
Yeah.
And if you're not that kind of person, don't.
Right.
Don't do it.
Right.
I get it. Working for the man isn't always the best,
but some people are not built to be entrepreneurs.
Absolutely.
So, and that's okay. Deb says a great tool for making your business plan actionable is to use the balanced scorecard template. Everything, all objectives, strategies, projects, measures will keep you on track, and make sure to share it with all your employees. It should be on every employee's desk, not a plan in a binder in a file cabinet. The scorecard holds everyone accountable and ensures the team is on the same page.
Yeah, that's serious stuff, right? That's when you're really pushing your business and wanting it to succeed. Those are the things it takes.
Yeah.
Here's something funny though. Nobody likes to be held accountable.
Woo!
Right?
No.
We don't. I've been in sales, right? I had somebody tell me the other day, he's like, I can tell you're a salesperson, because you're just that kind of person, right? You have that personality or whatever. I'm like, yeah, I grew up with it. My father was in sales and, and so on and so on. But it's salespeople hate to be held accountable. Right. They've got, so we have Salesforce, right? And we have different CRMs, and we hate that because it forces us to be held accountable.
Yeah.
Which means that we got to be doing more work than we want to do. or more focused in certain areas than maybe we don't like doing that. When I first came back into the financial world and became an advisor, the first company I was with said, okay, you need to sit down and need to make 200 phone calls today. Yeah. And I just look and I go, no, not going to do it. I said, you might be able to take a kid right out of college and force him to sit down and make 200 phone calls, but you aren't going to take me out.
Right.
That's not how it works with me. And it doesn't work, and they give you these old phone lists that, it's like, okay. I mean, there were calls that I made that the people answered like a business owner or something, and they would answer and go, well, he passed away like 8 years ago. It's like, okay, so you're giving me antiquated lists that are pointless, and you're trying to teach me how to, converse and get into a phone call. That doesn't bode well for that person, right? They're not going to like their job. They're not going to stick around long.
No.
So, but being held accountable, when you're an entrepreneur, you're the only one holding yourself accountable.
Yep.
Right. And whether or not you've put a good effort in or you haven't put a good effort in.
Yeah, absolutely.
And there's times where you just say, I got so many things going on. I'm just fried.
Yep.
And I just need to go play a round of golf.
That's okay.
It's fine.
Yeah. I think too, moving your quote unquote business from a hobby to a business is, and I'm maybe not going to say this the right way, is the ability to be honest with yourself when you've screwed the pooch. So in other words, and I'll go back to the game of golf. If I have a bad round, so let's just say it's just one of those days, you just don't swing the club well, you get a little upset because you're competitive.
Yep.
But then you're like, yeah, well, but you kind of let it go. You don't analyze what went wrong. Where was my head? How was I, what was my feet? Was it, you stop analyzing. When you have a bad day, a bad month, a bad week, a bad quarter in business, you have to be truly honest with yourself and go, where did it fall apart? To Deb's point with the scorecard.
Yep.
Where did I miss? What did I fall short on? Did I give it my all? And you have to be truly, truly honest with yourself to say, well, you didn't do shit all month. So guess what? You got that.
Did I follow the plan?
Yeah.
And was the plan working?
Yeah.
Because we have a tendency to believe as business owners that we're smart.
Yeah.
And that we know what we're doing and that we're making the right choices all the time.
Right.
And therefore we don't analyze ourselves correctly and being honest.
Exactly.
So I that's a great point. And you need, you got to be, I mean, look, most people are tougher on themselves than they are on anybody else.
Absolutely.
We're all tough on ourselves. And that's great. But, if something's not working and your business is stalled, or worse, you need to refocus. You need to say, okay, what's changed? What am I missing here? Because something may have changed. Maybe it's technology. Maybe it's a mindset. Maybe it's your target market. Maybe, but what's changed, and how do I change with it? How do I move with it? I was talking to my brother-in-law yesterday. He was a teacher, and he wants to tutor. He makes extra money tutoring. And I said, well, hey, go to this website and go to this website, get yourself out there and you can tutor. He goes, oh, no, I don't want to do that. I said, why? He goes, because I don't want to tutor online. I prefer to do it in person. I said, well, you better wake up there, Smokey, because the world is moving to e-learning.
Yeah, that's right.
And if you're not seeing that, then I can't help you. But that's where the world is going. It's a business that is going to grow expectedly by like $200 billion in the next 5 years.
I mean,
and if you think you're going to get past that and say, no, well, I'm still doing it old school ways, well, good luck.
Oh, I mean, you remember back in the 90s, you had trainers. And you had to go downtown to the training department. They pay you mileage. They pay you the whole day to go down there to be trained on something.
And it was like a field trip, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And now
it's
a day off of work.
And now your trainers are, we don't have them.
Yeah.
You know,
They're online.
They're online. Go to
you
this.
you get hired by a major company nowadays.
Yeah.
And they hire you. I had this conversation with a friend of mine's daughter who just got hired at a Fortune 50 company. She called me up. She said, "Can you help me? I don't know what to do here." And I said, "Well, don't you have an HR?" And she goes, "Yeah, but..." So I got hired to be an engineer, and I have like 50 hours of these classes I got to take online to learn about the insurance, to learn about the 401k, to learn about the perks, to learn about the communication levels and the expectations and all these things that they're like, I got hired to do a job, but all they want me to do is watch videos all day long so I can catch up and be functional here. So we just don't do that anymore.
No.
And again, a sign of e-learning going forward. It's important. Get used to it. Use it. If you're a business owner, a lot of things are getting done online that were never thought of 2 years ago. And it's and many of it's going in that direction. But and I think Deb had something here with about attitude.
Yeah. Let's see here. She says that's why looking outside of the business for external forces facing your business is so important. So you'll know in real time the changes you need to make now. Otherwise, you may miss a new trend you capitalize on.
Right. And let's say you're even doing well. So things are going, hunky dory and you're making money and everything, but that doesn't mean you can let your guard down. It's you want to keep the momentum going, and that means you have to consistently pay attention to the influences of your business. You need to know what those are, because there'll be new ones popping up. But what influences your business? Just like my brother-in-law, it's like you need to understand that there's this new thing here. It's called e-learning, right? And if you want to move forward with what you want to do, you need to be made aware of this, and you need to maybe see how that fits into your plan.
Yeah.
But by saying, I don't like that, I prefer to do it in person. Okay. That's old school. We've had major corporations that have run this way for 100 years. All right. Those ways of doing things. And we had Nicole Martin on our show, Conversations with the CEO. She so accurately pointed this out. It's like, those are old school ways. There's new ways of doing things. And this is part of the reason why we have these walkouts, are because we have these dinosaurs running these major companies that just say, do as I say, not as I do. And, we all grew up with that. My father said it too.
All the time.
And it doesn't work anymore. People are finally saying, no. I'm not.
Well, and that's, on Two Ball Guys and Microphone, we just got done with a series about leadership. And just because you're in the C-suite doesn't mean you know it all or you are a good leader.
No, absolutely.
And I think there's still a lot of companies out there where that guy in the on the top floor in the corner office, hey, I know it all.
I've had some pretty interesting experiences in that world when I spent 4 years in the corporate world, and I saw people who got promoted, and I'm like, okay, but you promote that person to a management position, and they don't know how to manage people.
Right.
Right. And they don't want to. They're introverted, or maybe, that's just not their skill. So and typically you promote people who are very good at this job, and then you promote them into a new job. It's like, okay, but now you don't have anybody who's really good at the old job anymore, or somebody's new coming in and needs to be trained. It takes time, and that time is money.
Yeah.
Right. And so that costs you. That's why we have things like key man insurance. Right. If you lose a key man, it's going to cost you a lot of money. You lose your head of global sales, and that guy's walking out the door because he got a better job offer. And guess what, folks? He's going to take clients with him. He's going to take, information and knowledge and experience.
Doesn't matter if you got a no compete clause. He's still taking them.
Right. And so what do? It's so typically you'll try to bring somebody up from the inside.
Yeah.
And then you got to train that person, or you got to bring somebody in from the outside who doesn't know your culture, doesn't know what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
But so it's challenging, but leadership is so important, without question. Even if you're just a solopreneur, you're your own leader, and we talk, like you said, you got to be honest with yourself. You got to hold yourself accountable. You got to pick yourself up by the bootstraps every day and get to work.
Yeah.
And then you're a business owner. But if you don't have a time that you get up every day, you don't have, some sort of a routine of sorts about how you go about your business. If you're not constantly looking back at the last week, what did I accomplish this week? Was it all I had hoped to accomplish? Probably not. Yeah. So, okay, what can I do to change that? Put in greater effort. Make that bigger effort. Make a commitment.
Yeah.
To put in a greater effort. So, that's really, I think, the big key between a business owner and treating your business like a hobby is just it's your mindset and your commitment.
Yeah.
And you made that change, and it's reflected in here with all that you've done in here and the way you've got this place looking like a real studio, right? Yeah. And not a closet anymore.
Yeah.
Because you decided you were going to make this a business, and that meant, okay, I have to go out and build this. Now I got to bring on shows instead of sitting here hoping somebody comes through the door.
Right.
Like a guy like Bill Haase a year and a half plus ago and says, hey, you got any airtime? I'll buy that time.
That's right.
So, you've actively sought out and brought in some shows, and you're still looking to do so.
Well, and I will tell you from experience, and you and Deb can probably back me on this as well. There is a difference in your gut when you decide to take it from a hobby to a business. There is a different feel of pride. There is a different feel of ownership. There's you wake up and you attack the day differently when you commit to this is a business as opposed to a hobby.
Yeah, it's like a calling, right? If you don't have a choice,
right?
You just you do it because you're called to do it.
Yeah,
right. And that comes from passion too, right? You really, everybody says if you do if your job is doing what you love, you'll never work a day in your life. Okay, that's great, but how does everybody find out that? Right. That's hard, and that'll come to you at any point in life. It could come to you when you're 18, or it might wait till you're 61.
Right.
So. But seek it out.
Well, and that's another one of those bumper stickers that I just love to. No, you'll work your ass off, but you'll enjoy your work. Right? If you do what you love, you're probably going to work more. You're going to work longer. You're going to work harder, but you're absolutely going to love it.
Yeah, you're building a legacy.
Yeah.
And that's key. You want to keep that in mind. You want to build a legacy. Okay, you want to leave something behind that people will say, "Wow, look what that person built."
Yeah,
or that might be just a great family that you've raised.
Could be.
It doesn't have to be monumental. It just, you have to have a purpose. And that's your mission statement.
Yeah.
To some extent. Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely.
But we're right down here to the last minute, huh?
We're on the back end of it, which is wonderful. So, great stuff. And listen, it's okay to have a hobby that you enjoy, but don't call it your business.
Right.
Call it your hobby. Yeah. And you'll do yourself a favor by doing that. But from a guy who, for 3.5 years, treated it as a hobby, thinking it was a business, it's the difference between day and night.
It is.
Truly is.
It really is, and you'll feel it inside. If you don't feel it inside, you need to seek something else.
That's it. Hey, listen, folks, that's going to do it for this edition of Innovative Strategies with Bill Haase. Come back at 12:30 today for questions you never thought you could ask in church. Good stuff going on. Thank you all for joining in and getting caught in the net and grabbing a daily dose of encouragement.
Thanks, folks. See you next week.